What's going on, everybody? Today I want to work on something with you guys that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it's what to do in those rare moments when you're on stage and you don't hear anything. You don't hear a melodic idea. So typically when I'm improvising, in the perfect setting, you hear an idea, right? You hear the musical notes, and then you just use all the hard work and all the wood shedding just to play those notes. It's a kind of symbiotic thing going on, and it's pretty amazing. It's why you spend all those hours wood shedding. But what happens, when you don't hear anything? So I just did when I was playing recently the Refinery with Danger Muffin and the infamous String Dusters. I went and did a great fun sit-in with my friend Jeff Caldwell, and I thought I was going to play like one song, but ended up playing all night. And there was just a moment where I was up there and I just didn't hear anything to play. So what do I do, right? One of the things that I use a lot is just triads, right? Just real simple triadic motion and connections to get this to get some ideas flowing. And then before you know it, I end up hearing melodies, and it kind of things take off from there. So I just wanted to show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, a triad is simply the root, the third, and the fifth of a chord. And then you can add more aspects to that, like you can add the seventh. But for now, I'm just thinking about the root, the third, whether it's major or minor. So in the key of G, that's G, B, D in the G, so 0. 4 on the G, open D, and that G octave, which is the same as the root, right? Just an octave higher. Now, there's worlds of music to be explored just in this. So we have this triad, and I have all the different ways I can play those notes kind of mapped out in my head across the fingerboard. So let me just show you a few of those real quick. So let's just look at this. Let's just look at this first open position on the mandolin. So we have 0, 4 on the G, like I said. Then we have the perfect fifth on the open D. And then we have the octave, which you can use your third finger if you're staying in this position, or if you're going to switch up to a higher octave, you can shift to that first finger on that G on the 5th fret. Now, to make this minor, all we're going to do is play that major third and take it down a half step to the B flat. So we have G, B flat, D natural, G. For those of you who have heard the new Danger Muffin record, These Golden Chains, that's what I'm using for this melody. I'm just putting in that F natural. I'm just putting in that flat 7th in there, but it's basically just a 2 octave G minor riff, right? But right now, let's just look at the root, the perfect fifth, and that octave G. Now, we can play it just like that, or we can play that D natural, take out the open D, and play it with my third finger on the 7th fret of the G string there, and then use my middle finger to naturally just drop down and play that G octave on the 5th fret. So we have 0, 3, 7. So for those of you guys who don't know, your D and your D can also be found on that 7th fret of the G. right? You should know that for tuning. Speaking of tuning, I'm using these awesome strings. I'm trying the non-coded strings on my Collings here, and I'm honestly, you know what I'm doing? I'm seeing how long I can play these without changing them before they kick. Sometimes I'll do that if I have a recording where I just want like a kind of, just like a slightly dull sound. You know, I just kind of want it to sound kind of muted. Sometimes I'll just leave some old strings on a mandolin for a long time, right, as like a studio trick. But I don't really have that going on. I'm just interested in checking these strings out and just working them out. I've had these on for, I change strings quite a bit, but I'm just messing around with these and seeing how long they'll last. And I think I put these on quite a while ago, honestly, for me. I played at least 6 weeks is when I put them on when I did the Travis Book Happy Hour podcast. So if you want to hear what these sound like brand new, you can check that out. Obviously it was amplified using my pickup, but I'm just been keeping these on. They're starting to wear out, but they still sound pretty good. Probably losing their tuning just a little bit. No fault of the strings, but anyway. All right, so now we can play this. We can play this moving up the G string. Or we can play it using that open D, right? Now, already you can, I'm playing this ascending, right? But you can mix up these you can mix up these notes. I added the fourth in there, but you get the idea. But you can play these in different combinations to see if here's some melodies in that. But what I was thinking about is just connecting two chords together using these triads. So let's say the next chord, let's think real out of the box here, and let's say the next chord goes to the 4 chord. All right, so the G, let's call it G minor, or whatever, G major, G minor, doesn't matter, goes to the 4 chord, goes to a C major chord. Now, I'm going to take a look at that C triad, and I'm going to just connect one of the notes of the triad to the closest note in the next chord, and just make a really nice connection between the 2 chords, right? It's never going to sound bad. So I have my, say, G minor triad. Now, the C triad, if we start with the 5th of the chord, that's our low G. So that's one of our notes that's possible. I use my 3rd finger for the 5th fret, the C natural. I'm going to play the 3rd with my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the D, the E natural, the G on my 5th fret of the D string, and then we have our octave on the 3rd fret of the A string, that's our C. So we have C, the 3rd E, the G perfect 5th, and then we have the octave on the 3rd fret. So we have. So I might play something that ends on the G. And now as the next chord approaches, I could just stay on that G and connect to the C chord. Or if I wanted some harmonic motion, I can drop down to that E natural, which is part of the C triad. Or I could jump up to that octave can start experimenting using my ear and using these notes that I know are going to be harmonically in choices, right? The root, the third, and the fifth. And I can start improvising through G, and as when I hit the C chord, I can pick whatever note I'm on and pivot to a chord tone. I could go up, I could stay on that G, I could go down to the E, I could go down to the C, I could go down to the octave. All of which, the G, the C, the E, the G, and that C are part of the chord, are part of the next approaching chord, C major chord. So if I'm improvising, I might just start by playing something triadic. Right? And then thinking to the chord that's going to come next, right? So if the next chord is a F major, I would do the same thing, except this time I would be working out of the C shape. And then I would connect to the nearest chord tone in an F major triad. If the next chord is back to a C, I would go from the F to G. Now, of course, this is feeling a little bit like a study, but once you can start hearing these intervals, it can become actually melodic, and we can start taking these ideas up to different octaves. And so on and so on. Anyway, and if you want more lessons on triads, I do an in-depth study of these with my students, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on something I work on quite a bit, and I use as a tool when I'm just not feeling it. All right, guys, catch up with you soon.